How's it going, everyone? The PlayStation Store is running its Critics' Choice sale, as well as its games under $15 sale, as well as its indie sale right now. Here to look at some great deals under the price of $20. Now, this video, I should say, will only cover the Critics' Choice sale. The indie sale and the Critics' Choice sale have different end dates, so I don't want to muddle the two, and it would get confusing saying that one game's ending on this date, the other game's ending on that date, and if you're watching this video a few days after it's uploaded and the Critics' Choice sale has wrapped up, you guys get the idea. It would be a little bit confusing. And if you guys watch the video later, then some of the deals would be in here and some of them wouldn't. So let's just talk the Critics' Choice sale. There's a lot of good stuff. Now, before we get into this video, I just want to ask you guys, please like this video and do leave a comment with your thoughts. It really does help out the channel a lot, and it is much appreciated. And let's get right into it. We just had the release of Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. RGG has been building up a lot of momentum as a studio as a whole, and they've got some of their games discounted at a really good price. First of all, we have the Yakuza Origins digital bundle. This is 75% off for $12.49. This includes Yakuza 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2. What's great about this collection is, first of all, Yakuza 0 is tremendous, and a lot of people consider it to be the RGG title to start off with. I don't necessarily agree with that, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but it's a fantastic game and I highly recommend it. Kiwami and Kiwami 2 are really good as well, and they're remakes of Yakuza 1 and 2. It's really when you get Yakuza 3, 4, and 5, that's when it gets a little bit arduous and some of the dated elements are there. Those games are still good, but you know, 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2 for Yakuza is a really, really good starting point. But I would say that if you've never played any of the RGG games, Judgment is the best game to play, and that is 65% off for $14. Judgment is an absolutely fantastic game, and it also has English voice acting. Now, English voice acting in an RGG game, some people are gonna think that's absolute blasphemy. I played Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth with the Japanese voice acting just because I wasn't a big fan of the voice acting for Kiryu, but Yakuza Like a Dragon had a great cast, as well as Judgment. Judgment's English voice acting is awesome, and if you don't want to play with subtitles, which I can totally understand, Judgment's English voice acting, again, is really, really solid, and this was a game that was built ground up for the PlayStation 4, so from a visual standpoint, it looks a lot better than those older Yakuza titles, and you still got the great beat-em-up gameplay, and it tells a great story from start to finish. It does have a follow-up, of course, in Lost Judgment, but Judgment in its own right, again, self-contained story that works really, really well. $14 for it is great. A lot of mystery in Judgment as well. Just cannot say enough good things about it. I really, really enjoyed the game. And again, if you're looking to get into RGG games, Judgment is a great starting point. Next up, we have Odin Sphere Leifthrasir, 75% off for $14.99. Odin Sphere is awesome. It was really the game that put Vanillaware on the map, and I believe it was their very first game. Nonetheless, Odin Sphere was a great action RPG, side-scrolling action RPG with a fantastic visual style. Remember that this is an upgraded release of a PlayStation 2 game, so the game certainly does show some of its age, but it's still pretty good, and that visual style, man, it came out all the way back in 2006, and I know this was updated a little bit, but the original back in 06, and it still looks great to this day. That's just what is going to be the case with these Vanillaware games. They just age very, very gracefully from an aesthetic standpoint. Soundtrack is great in Odin Sphere as well. $14.99 for the game is great. It is available on PlayStation Plus Extra, and I should note Judgment is available on Plus Extra as well. Next up, Dark Souls titles. Finally seeing a bit of a discount. Dark Souls Remastered is $19.99, and Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is $19.99. I mean, it's Dark Souls. It's not gonna be for everyone. I'm not crazy about the From Software games, but I know this is more of an element of get good kid, and yeah, these games I just get absolutely whooped in, but you know, if you like your rewarding, challenging action RPGs, Dark Souls is obviously going to offer you that, and I had a great time with Dark Souls 1 and 2. Like, I'm not crazy about the From Software games, but I literally play them every time out the gate, and when I say From Software games, obviously, I'm talking about the Souls-like From Software games. I loved Armored Core, and I loved a lot of the From Software Souls-like games. Bloodborne is one of my favorite PlayStation 4 games, but nonetheless, these games just don't resonate with me as much as it does everyone else, but I still play them every time out the gate. Dark Souls 1 and 2, again, $19.99, and these games, again, the From Software, Bandai Namco, whoever the publisher is for these games, they know what they have. The From Software Souls-like games rarely go on sale. Sekiro, the cheapest you're gonna get it for is $30. DS1 and 2, think about how old they are. DS2 is literally 10 years old at this point, and it's still $20, which is insane. DS1 came out back in 2010, and I get it that this is this remastered version, but I digress, $19.99 a pop, not a bad deal there. Next up, we have A Plague Tale Innocence, 70% off for $11.99. A lot of you got A Plague Tale Requiem last month for PlayStation Plus Essential. I highly recommend that you don't play that game until you play A Plague Tale Innocence. Plague Tale is a super narrative-driven experience, but the narrative is incredibly strong, and it's one of those narrative-driven games that it doesn't take, you know, an hour or two to really build up to the story and get you engaged. 30 minutes or so, and you'll be hooked into the story of A Plague Tale, and it just did a really good job telling a dark narrative. And what is amazing about Plague Tale is we're living in this era that, you know, single-player $60 games, especially of a new IP, especially from an unknown studio, it's a little bit hard to pop off, but Asabo Studio did exactly that, and I feel like they deserve a lot of credit for figuring it out with A Plague Tale, because this is a game that has resonated at a relatively high level given what it is, and $11.99 for Innocence is definitely a good buy. Definitely play this, then go play Requiem as well, of course. Next up, we have Spyro Reignited Trilogy, 65% off for $14. It's the original 3 Spyro games remade. I mean, I'm gonna be incredibly nostalgic when it comes to these games. Spyro was one of the very first games I got on my PlayStation 1. It was, when I got my PS1, it was Mega Man X4 and Spyro. Hence why I seem to always recommend the Mega Man X collection and the Spyro Reignited Trilogy. Funny how that works. But yeah, Spyro Reignited Trilogy is great, and you're getting 3 games here, all done pretty well. They're not super lengthy, of course, but they're well worth it as far as platformers go. And even if you're not going into this for the nostalgic attachment, it's still a worthwhile series to go through. Next up, we have Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, 60% off for $15.99. DMC5, I imagine, is a game the majority of you own, but I do want to give this a shout as it was pulled from PS Plus Extra. Devil May Cry 5 is great. I mean, I'm not crazy about DMC from a narrative standpoint, but if you're talking about fast-paced action games with a lot of over-the-top gameplay, DMC is pretty damn good. The soundtrack is great. Just go listen to Devil Trigger, and that'll sell you on the game. Like, that's literally all you need to do. I don't need to say anything about DMC5. You just listen to Devil Trigger, and you'll probably buy the game at that point. But yeah, $15.99 for DMC5. Pretty good deal, and runs great on the PS5 as well. Next up, we got Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, 60% off for $19.99. I sunk an absurd amount of time into this game back when it came out in 2006, and I remember back in 2006, it kind of got a little bit of a mixed reception from the audience. Now, the critical reception was great, but I remember the audience that was, you know, longtime Final Fantasy fans found the gameplay to be a bit jarring. Played more like an MMO as far as its battle system and whatnot, but I feel like this game, in retrospect, people look back at it very fondly. It's got a ridiculous amount of content. Like, if you're trying to do everything, this is quite the undertaking. The only real slight I have towards the game is that Vaughn is one of the weakest Final Fantasy main characters, especially, you know, coming off the heels of like a Clive, and you've had so many other great characters like Cloud, even like a Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. Vaughn is just not a very likable character, and you know, it is what it is. You have other great characters in the game like Balthier and Ash, but overall, that's a very small complaint. But, you know, narrative-driven JRPG, main character not being great is what it is. But $19.99 for the game is a great buy, and I strongly recommend it. Next up, Soul Hackers 2, 70% off for $17.99. From one game where the main character isn't so great to Soul Hackers 2, where I love the main character. I thought Ringo was an awesome main character. Now, Soul Hackers 2 certainly has some issues as a dungeon-crawling, turn-based RPG. The main issue, some of the dungeon design elements really left me scratching my head, and they were very annoying, but overall, the game is really solid. The soundtrack is excellent. The boss battle theme, another one that you could go look that up, and I feel like the boss battle theme will sell a lot of you guys on Soul Hackers 2. The story is really good, a lot of mystery, and the rest of the cast outside of Ringo is quite solid as well, so $17.99 for that. Pretty good. Next up, we got the Mass Effect Legendary Trilogy, 80% off for $11.99. It's Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. It's an insane bargain given the quality level of the games you're getting here. Mass Effect 1 obviously does show its age, though. Those 2007 era games seem to all show their age quite a bit here in 2024. When you look at Witcher 1, Mass Effect 1, and Uncharted 1, those are the 3 games I always think about. And, you know, Witcher 1 is getting a remake, so that's great. But Mass Effect 1, again, does show its age, but still a worthwhile game to go through. Mass Effect 2, one of the greatest RPGs of all time, and Mass Effect 3 is really good as well. I know when it came out, the main discussion point was the ending, but it's a good game in its own right, so definitely would recommend that. Speaking of The Witcher, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition is 70% off for $14.99. It's Witcher 3, the 2 expansions. Do I really gotta sell you guys on this? Most of you guys probably have it. It's a great open world RPG. In my opinion, it's legitimately one of the greatest video games ever created, and excels in damn near every area. I know some people aren't crazy about the gameplay, but I like the gameplay, and I feel like at harder difficulties, it really does have a lot of depth to it. PS5 upgrade is there. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty damn good, and story is great. Can't wait for whatever they do with Witcher going into the future, and of course, we're gonna get a Witcher 1 remake. Would be great to get a Witcher 2 remaster or something like that as well. That game came out on 360, never came out on PlayStation at all. Feel like that would be a pretty easy way to print money, but I'm sure they're gonna do something with Witcher 2 at some point. Next up, we have Stray 1979, a really atmospheric game, a cyberpunk city. You play as a cat. It's a really well done game, very much on the shorter side, but this game crushed it from a commercial standpoint. Was a PS Plus extra title at launch. I feel like Sony kind of made out like bandits when they got that deal done, given how big this game got. But yeah, Stray's a really good game, just again on the shorter side, and is a pretty penny at $19.79. Next up, we got LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, 70% off for $17.99. I'm not crazy about the LEGO games, nor am I crazy about Star Wars, but I really enjoyed LEGO Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, and I don't have anything against either of those two things, LEGO games or Star Wars. But yeah, LEGO games are fairly accessible, and this is one that I just enjoyed going through. Has a good bit of content, there is some DLC tied into it, but $18 for Skywalker Saga I think is quite good. And lastly, I am going to give a shout out to one Gotham Knights. It is 80% off for $14. It is available on Plus Extra. Look, this game got panned when it initially came out at 70 bucks, but it is down to $14. And I think for $14, it is pretty damn good. You know, it's seeing some comparisons to Suicide Squad right now. I just think, you know, it's the idea of you have these multiple characters. I don't know, but Gotham Knights is a pretty good game at this price point. I think it's worthwhile to go through, and it does have some replayability with the different characters. Obviously, nowhere near worth $70. Obviously, 30 FPS lock is egregious for this game, but for 14 bucks, I think it's a pretty decent deal, and I would say give it a look. I think this price, it is a decent pickup. But that is going to do it for me. Again, a lot of great deals available across all the sales. These are just from the Critics' Choice sale, so check them out for yourself. Links to everything in the description box down below. As always, thank you for watching. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye. Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to hit the subscribe button, and if you're already subscribed, do us a favor and hit the bell icon. This way you'll be notified whenever we post a new video. That's the best way to keep up with all of our uploads, and we usually try to upload 2 videos a day. And with the bell icon hit, you'll be notified whenever we do upload a video. As always, thanks for watching.